Watches on silent.
Phones, watches on silent.
Extra loud, she said it too.
Welcome to the USW 1944 Strong as Steel podcast. I am one of your hosts, Monica Newton.
I'm your other host, Ross Brown.
Last host over here, Katrina McLeod.
But certainly not least.
Thank you.
The most of us, really.
Yeah, well, you got enough personality for everybody.
Sharing is caring.
So today we'll be talking with President Donna Hakiro, newly minted. We will be talking about the election results and also some of the TELUS bargaining agreement things that are coming up this year at the end.
Very important topic.
Very nerve-wracking topic. And I think it's important that we talk about it in the open because I feel like a lot of people have questions.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of answers out there. So I feel like having an open forum to discuss some Q&As would be good.
I don't know. I would disagree with the information not being there. I feel like people just don't know where to get the information from.
Yeah, it's important to keep open communication, especially right now. We want to have the best solidarity that we can going into bargaining. So try to, just get more people even listening to this, going to your union meetings. There's different groups that you can get messages through. I know there's some WhatsApp groups. There's some Slack.
Well, it's a good point, actually, because we just started a new project, and the idea was, our PUMA network is nationwide. So it's made up of union activists throughout the country. And so the idea is that when information flows flows from the union office, let's say, and it goes out into the PUMA network, those people tell other people, those people tell other people, networks within networks.
Right.
And so we're seeing right now is the union is developing the unit level communications now. So there are a lot of WhatsApp groups being created. So in the next month, next couple of months, you'll probably get a text message or a phone call or an email, probably from someone you probably have never heard from. Because the hierarchy of our union is actually, you start off here with the rank and file, and then you have the stewards, then the councillors, then the unit executives. Not a lot of people, especially in the bigger units, you might actually not know who your unit level executive is. And so there is effort being put in for those people to actually reach out. So if you get a strange text message from someone said, hey, I'm such and such.
I actually have recently, and it was super positive. And so I think especially there's so many younger people coming to the company, so many new hires, and they don't really know all about the union involvement. Maybe they haven't been in a union before. And so specifically for these, you're going to get this message or you're going to get a call ahead of time asking your permission. Do you want me to add you to this group so that you can stay informed and have updates and get reminders from the guys or girls about upcoming meetings or upcoming events that are important? And then just that option of saying yes or no, and also the inclusiveness of it, I immediately was like, oh, wow, thanks for thinking of me. It made me feel like a valued member.
Yeah. And if you haven't received a message and you want to get more involved, what's the best way?
USW1944.ca.
You got it.
Or you could reach out to any of us. It's always welcome, and then we'll help you get involved.
On the Strong as Steel Instagram, or put a comment in below.
Yeah.
I'm putting this because we're going to insert the link below.
Yeah. We're going to have our tech people take care of that.
Tech people.
Yes.
You got that, Tyler? You can put in a link underneath.
Make it flash, bubble letters.
Or our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Or our Facebook group.
YouTube, Instagram, probably not Snapchat.
You know what I find, though? I found that over the years, as social media has progressed, because I remember getting Facebook when it first came out, back a number of years ago.
Not to date yourself.
2003,
2006, I think. 5 or 6.
No.
Yeah.
I was a late bloomer.
It was after I graduated.
Anyway, so Facebook comes out, and I was like, this is amazing. Look, you can put pictures on the internet of yourself, right? But over the years, it's obviously changed, and you can kind of guess what age people are by what social media they prefer to use.
Yeah.
Because if somebody says to you, "Oh, yeah, get me on Facebook," you're like, "Oh, old person, definitely old person."
Oh, that's me.
Is it you?
I don't have any of the other ones.
You
Yeah.
don't have Instagram?
So you're not alone out there, listeners.
I'm more of an Instagram and TikTok kind of gal.
Oh, you're a TikTok girl?
I am. Yeah.
Oh,
She's
man.
very hip.
I'm keep in mind, I know I look old and haggard, but I'm probably
Come on.
half your age.
You're like a no.
Ow! My heart.
You'd be like a 5-alarm chili. Okay,
A 5-alarm chili? I don't know. What is it?
off the spice counter.
Oh, nice. Okay. But going back to the age comment, how old do you think I am?
43.
What? No, he's like 35.
Ooh, I'm right in the middle. I'm 39 years old.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I think 39.
I forgot.
I'm
how old-
38, but I'll be 39 in November.
Okay. So
That's
you're
okay.
30.
I respect that. I forgot how old I was the other day.
Okay.
Somebody asked me, and I was like, I'm existing.
Old enough to not remember my age
Yeah.
sometimes. Right?
You're almost twice as old as me.
okay.
almost.
Well, how old are you?
23.
Holy. Okay, she's definitely the the Instagram TikTok of the
I'm
group.
an Instagram.
She's gonna
and
keep us
TikTok
relevant.
To all the young people. Holding our canes coming into recording.
Well, you at least have Instagram. I'll be out there like,
The only reason I have Instagram, I can tell you right now, is
Hello.
Tyler made me get Instagram because
Nice.
he says, listen, if we want to appeal to the younger generation in this podcast, you have to get Instagram. I was like, fine,
Hashtag.
Tyler.
Gotta do
right?
it.
Gotta do it.
You're
right.
good influence, Tyler. You're a good egg. Good egg.
Oh, thanks.
Well, and actually, I was going to say, kind of coming into bargaining again for TELUS, is, how many jobs did that quarantine clause save?
Right.
Whoever thought that would have been used, right? Like somebody had the foresight to put that in our previous collectives. Whoever thought that we would have need to be paid when we're isolating at home from having a life-threatening illness?
Exactly. Long-term planning.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to be based on. You can't look at the 5-year agreement and say, okay, what do I get in these 5 years? You got to think,
Yeah.
we need to build off this 5 years for the 10-year plan, for the 15-year plan.
contingency. You need to have contingencies.
So, hey, Kat, have you heard of LUDM?
Yeah, I've been hearing some chatter about it.
Do you think you could tell me a little bit about that?
Well, first off, it's an acronym.
For
Leader, union, delegate, member.
I think, you know what?
so close. It's twice. We do a couple of takes of this, but this is like the third take, and you still haven't gotten it right.
I'm really bad at acronyms.
What's it stand for, Tyler?
Local union delegated meeting.
Yeah,
Tyler.
Okay, well done. See, the eye in the sky knows everything. Thank you, Tyler.
We need.
So the local union delegated meeting is basically what happens is we have delegates from all over the country. They all get together and they get together to decide on how our union is run, because this is a democratic organization. We vote for the people in power. We vote for the table officers. Donna Hakiro will be joining us in a little while, and she is one of the people that we voted into power just as of last March, April. So she was voted in, and so what we do at the local level, so we're all members, and we make up the individuals of our unit. So you have the individual members, and then when you add all those people together, they form units. So, units, the smallest unit we have is 11. The biggest unit is like 1,000 and so many people, right? So there's a big units.
Wow.
And the units comprise all different companies as well. We don't actually just have TELUS in here. We also have Shaw. We also have Stratcom. There are other people who make up different units. And so each one of those units, depending on its size, gets to vote for somebody to go to this meeting to make decisions on their behalf. So it's like it's a convention. Everybody gets together. There's an agenda set, and they say, okay, we also fill each other's union cups up and do a bit of rah rah rah.
And that's our ludums.
That's our ludums. And it's actually happening. It was originally scheduled to happen early in the year, but of course, COVID. We were investigating possibilities of doing this all online. But of course, when the vaccine started rolling out, there was talk about, well, it would be good, especially in a bargaining year, for us to actually get together in person, because there's no substitute, really. I mean, you do what you have to do for the circumstances, but there is really no substitute for getting everybody in the same room.
And just the conversations that happen and the rapport between people, and maybe somebody says something that encourages somebody else to speak, and then the feelings come out and the people feel supported, and that they're not alone in these feelings and not alone in their aspirations towards certain goals, especially with the upcoming bargaining.
Right.
And
it's the camaraderie.
The synergy. The synergy. But a lot of work gets done outside of the agenda, like people getting together, having conversations, networking, and it really breaks down barriers. Like, we've done a lot of efforts and done a lot of strides in our local to change the way we work, to break down the barriers, because as we were talking earlier about bargaining and how the simplest trick in the book to work against us is divide and conquer. The company divides us into appendixes, then they divide us into teams, and then they split us all up, and then you all work from home. You all home dispatch, or you're on the work styles program.
I guess you could say it's almost like de-unionizing.
Ah, you see what they're doing. Nice. Well done. And so you can see the problem. That's why, we've done a lot of work at breaking down those barriers using social media, or using, for example, our PUMA network and our Slack app. Right? But there's still work to be done. And part of that is bringing people together, so that you can, share a beer, or have a coffee with someone and talk about other things than not just humanize each other, right? When we're in Zoom conferences, they're okay, but it's, everybody has to take their turn slowly, not that you should interrupt each other, but, you don't get to have that social connection with people through a computer where you do if you're together. And that's kind of why they moved it to the end of the year, so that there'd be the hope and the chance that we could all meet together. Yeah. And it certainly looks, the way BC's going, that we will be able to do that.
So can I just have a question about this? Like, can anybody go?
Anybody can run to be a delegate. That election was actually held in November last year, so that is actually over. So the delegates were picked, but we hold these meetings every 3 years, and so I would encourage you, if you want to be part of this process, if you want to take part in this, put yourself down. Talk to a steward. That's the first step. Always talk to the steward, see what's involved. And then you talk to a councillor. Maybe you get involved, attend a few more meetings. Understand who it is, because ultimately the units are voting you as a delegate to represent them, right? So let's say something comes to the floor where we're going to talk about yellow pencils instead of green pencils, right?
It's a big issue.
Yeah, it is. And
hot topic.
Yeah, and so the yellow pencil group, right? Typically the craft people use yellow pencils.
We've always used yellow pencils. We'll always use yellow pencils.
Yeah, and the green pencil folks are crazy, right? Why would you use a green pencil? So, you see, so what happens is we're going to bring, something to the shop floor where our delegates get together and say, we want yellow pencils, and the green pencil folks.
But it's a meeting of the minds and realizing it's all graphite, baby.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's you get together, you debate the issue, and somebody will stand up and say, listen, yellow or green, doesn't matter, man. It's all about the graphite on the inside.
Yeah. Well, and I like the terms that we use when we're supposed to formally address each other as brothers and sisters.
Right on.
Right? Like it's
siblings.
It's a family, right? Like that's supposed to be the idea behind being a union, is you are together, you know each other, you're in each other's lives, and even if you have conflicts, you can sit down and talk about them and come to a resolution or a compromise, right?
I think sometimes the thing about family or like close friends, things like that, is like to be able to support each other properly. Sometimes there's something that matters like more to somebody else. Like, I don't necessarily like chick flicks that much, but I know one of my best friends, it's important to her. She really loves go to the theater. And I will do that for her. I will eat that
What
popcorn.
a good friend.
And I will be there because she does because she's there for me for my things, like when I make her like go drive up a mountain in my Jeep or something. She doesn't want to do that. She's like, ah. But if you're all in it together, the bottom line is like we're there for each other, and everybody's wants might be a little bit different, but you have to support each other for the big picture to work.
You got it. And that's how bargaining works.
That's what LUDM, let 'em is.
Let 'em speak, right?
What's LUDM?
It means local union delegate meeting.
Yay!
The confidence was beaming off you there.
Tyler, were you around for the last collective?
I was.
Okay, and you were just around for
I was
it,
pretty
right?
fresh.
Yeah, I went and picked up signs and we did a practice picket and
Yeah.
there was some fallout.
And just so you know, I'm going to be including those practice picket pictures in our stream. So put it on Instagram from last time round. So if you want to have a look at what it looked like last time round, check out our Instagram, like our page, subscribe, click the bell, do the heart thing. What's TikToks? Is
Like,
I think it's like
You're the young generation one. Come on.
Like, share,
TikTok.
comments.
Thumbs up.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. there
Yeah,
you go.
run up the views, the whole
something like
thing.
that.
So bargaining is coming up at TELUS. It's approaching, fast approaching. It'll be on us by the end of the year. And so I wanted to know from you guys what you guys think that what our possible future here, or what we want to see in the future coming up is bargaining.
Our ideal future.
Yeah.
What could be. But also, I mean, it's important to think about the present and the past.
Yeah, what we had before and where we go from there, right? Because, for too long I thought that we have been short-term thinkers, right? We're only thinking about what's immediately in front of us. We have to be thinking more long-term, right?
Would this be a good opportunity to talk to Miss Donna Hakiro, president of the union?
I think so.
I would like some of her input.
We should have a giant phone. I'd love to just...
Let's dial her in.
The Donna
get some
phone?
Input and wisdom.
It's a big red phone. You just pick it up. It always goes straight to her.
There you go.
We'll just be like, hey, Donna, what's the word? And then she'll tell us.
Perfect. Speaking of,
And joining us on the podcast today, we have Donna Hakiro, our local president.
Hi,
Hello,
Donna.
Donna.
Hey.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm Donna Hokiro. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm coming to you from my home office in Edmonton. And
Beautiful.
Edmonton, thank you. Edmonton lies in Treaty 6 territory. It is the traditional gathering place, traveling route, and home to many Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and the Inuit. And yes, I am President Donna of Local 1944. Good afternoon, happy Friday.
Welcome. What an excellent acknowledgement. So happy you came to the podcast today.
thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you. Yeah, so the president of the local union typically just oversees the union broadly, right? And historically has always been the chief spokesperson at TELUS bargaining, for example. With myself, though, it's a little bit more complicated than that because I came in last term as an elected vice president. And so the vice president's portfolio is the legal, arbitrations and so forth like that. But then our president had left office and I was foisted into the presidency. And we brought forward our, another member of the executive board, and he acted in the vice presidency capacity. But I was still mentoring. So I'm still interested in and participate in arbitrations and our grievance committee and all of those things. And I do bargaining, and not just the TELUS bargaining, right? So I've done the bargaining with Shaw Abbotsford. I did the bargaining with Stratcom. I'm going to be inserting myself in the bargaining with our Move Up staff. And I bargained the collective agreement with our staff reps, or local union reps, I should say. So, I kind of wear a whole bunch of hats.
A lot of hats.
Yeah. So my days are really long. And what we're doing right now, the table officers and myself. And then, so we have a board, right? And that's all the people that get elected in the regions. So British Columbia would have a regional executive officer or two, as their membership is large enough to afford that. Alberta, Ontario, Quebec each have one. And then we have 3 trustees to ensure our books are spot on, right? And Ross is one of our trustees. So they have oversight. Yes, that's right. Woo, woo, woo. So he has oversight of, the money. And he and 2 others, Natasha out of Ontario and Jen out of Calgary, review all of our books, separate and apart from the Secretary Treasurer, right? So there's no, we want you to look here, but not look there, right? It's like, here's the books, ask me if you have any questions. That would be what Michael would say, not me. And then he walks away, right? So we're not involved that way. And then we have the table officers above the board, because they are, they still work full-time days unless they're pulled in to do like trustee work, right?
Oh. Okay.
So they still either work at Shaw or TELUS. They're the rank, what you sort of refer to as, I guess, kind of rank and file of the board, which means, they have jobs at TELUS, Shaw, or otherwise that are inside our certification. And the 3 table officers have full-time jobs. So Michael's the Secretary Treasurer. Michael Pierre-Luc Dick is our Vice President out of Rimouski, Quebec, and then myself. And what we've been doing, and this is the fun part, or the exhausting part, I'm not quite sure which.
A little bit of both, maybe.
Right, oh, for sure, no doubt. We've been attending unit meetings. So we'll do our full day from, 7:30 or so in the morning. And then, it'll be 7:00 at night. You're still working. We do, right? And then, I got to zoom into a unit meeting. So
are you dropping
our
into
leadership? Sorry,
are you dropping into just unit meetings around, just like
around the country?
Around
Yeah.
the country?
Around the country.
That's amazing.
So she actually was very kind and graced us with her presence, because I'm from Victoria. I'm from the island. So she actually came to our last meeting.
Oh, represent. Okay.
Yeah, no, and we all are, right? And we have staff reps too, right? Scott Lunny and Jason Little. And they're assigned out of the big union to help us, go and flow with the Canadian National Office, or Pittsburgh, our national office, international office. So, so we jumped in one day. I did 3. So I started in Montreal because it was like 4:00 here, and so it was 6 there. And then I hopped into an Alberta meeting at 7 or something, and then at British Columbia one my time was more like 8 because it was 7 there. And so it was just I was how you bar hop? I was
time hop, the master of time.
If only I could have had shots.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, who's saying that we're not doing shots right now,
Right?
We have these generic mugs, but you never know.
You never know. Is this water?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's always a question.
Exactly.
Let's talk about bargaining.
Okay. So, what can we do to stand together during bargaining time? Is that a good question?
Solidarity is key,
Right.
right? So, ultimately, at the end of the day, or the beginning of the day, you could say, we have to have membership involvement. And, so people have got to sign up to our text messages because we will not be bargaining in secret, right?
Correct.
We obviously can't necessarily every day, all the time. It's not like you're going to have a bird's eye view, but we certainly won't be hiding anything from anybody. But so we need an audience. And so we need the audience to sign up to be that audience, right? Our membership. So people have to sign up to the text messages for sure. Really need people to come out to union meetings and bring a friend or 10, right? Because that's why Pierre, Luc, and myself, and Michael, and Jason, and Scott are all coming. We're giving you information. We can even talk more raw than here, right? We can get, we might even, throw a few curse words out there because we get really passionate.
Heaven
right?
forbid.
You should have heard Jason last night. Oh my goodness. Right?
God, that shows he's
So
passionate.
we need people to come out and hear the message. And I'm not going to get into too much of it today because the company is going to be all over this. Hi, company. Right? And we're going to have days of action or things we need the members to do that show that they solidly support.
Yeah, so like
and the more people that solidly support the bargaining committee, the better deal we get. And ultimately what we're trying to achieve is the person who isn't doing the acts of solidarity are the ones that are going to stick out as the apple polishers and want to be managers, right? If you want a better deal for yourself, how do you get it? You stick together. And we see this more and more all of the time in the world, right? Idle No More, Occupy Wall Street, the Me Too movement, Time's Up, Black Lives Matter. These movements are not a person. They're an idea. And as Tommy Douglas said, you can lock up a person. You can't lock up an idea. Even Greta, that's a movement. God love her. And she's the poster child for it. And really, it really shows that the young people have got it going on. But the world's a changing. When you have what's going on in India and all the farmers strike to their own, potential starvation, right? People are just fed up and they're not afraid anymore. And they're sticking together. And that's what solidarity is. And, when you see walls of mums and leaf blower dads, who would have ever thought? But the regular citizenry, regular folks are standing up and saying, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And if I don't take a stand and do actions of solidarity, such as whatever it might be, and I'm just going to say, it could maybe be.
I was actually going to say.
Their t-shirts.
Like this one?
Right? Yes, like that one. Hello. And let me tell you how that t-shirt came to be, if I may just digress a little bit, right? So you will remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Hard to
You'll
forget.
also remember that our members over at TELUS, specifically in this part of the story, got sent home computers, 5 minutes or a couple of days notice, as the company was scrambling to make sure that the community, the customers, were able to get service, and everybody needed connectivity, right? So clerical workers got sent home, whether or not they had a table, maybe, worked off a coffee table or whatever. And, Craft, both at TELUS and at Shaw, where we have other members, and we have other members at MAP and Stratcom as well, were, and those folks at MAP and Stratcom also been sent home. But we have Craft over at Shaw as well as TELUS. And so we have those brothers and sisters going into long-term care centers, hazmat suit up. We have, others that were just going into regular, even empty homes, but masked, and, there's policy and all of that necessarily so. But they also have other burdens of their own, right? Maybe they're immune compromised or they have family members. I mean, the whole world was scared. We didn't know what it was. I mean, you remember getting a delivery from Purolator and kicking that in with your feet, right?
I remember like washing down the mail that was coming in. My wife was like, no, we got to spray this mail down, make sure it's super clean. So,
Yes, or the truck, right? We come home from getting our groceries, right?
Throwing your clothes
Yes, and you go back outside. I know I was sent out with the wipes, you know, because we didn't know. And rightfully so. And so, you know, we are heroes. And you know, we're up there with the doctors and nurses and the grocery store clerks. And I was just going to point to that. Thank you very much, sister. God love you, and I do too. So yes, we did that poster. We sent it out to everybody. We said, put it up in your trucks, and if you work at home, put it up here and wherever else. And people did, right? And then, you know, some good person in the Lower Mainland had put it up on a fire door. And the company comes along and rips it down.
Shame.
It's a thank you poster. And they're out there yapping about how much they appreciate their members and love them and all that. What hypocrisy.
Yeah, it wasn't a political.
Disingenuous.
Yeah, it wasn't a political statement. It was just we're all in this together. Thank you for your hard work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It wasn't even, you know, love your union, right? It's like telecom workers, right?
But
including all telecom workers.
But something good did come from that. We had
the T-shirt for one.
The T-shirt.
Well, wait, no, hang on. A contest
That's
first.
what I was going to bring up. And shout out to Shalene Campbell, who was one of our contest winners.
Well done, Shalene.
Way to go. Way to represent Abbotsford. And she took that poster, stapled it to the top of the pole, and showed exactly what we're out there doing for the customers, for the community, and the work that we're doing. That's important so that other people can stay safe.
And absolutely proud of. Like, right, we're making it like. So if anybody wanted to tune in to even my Christmas video from before, so December, it'll be here soon enough, I know. But, you know, and I said it there, and I'll say it again, you know, and, you know, I get a bit emotional, but we're heroes. You know, people have their own burdens, right? Daycares are closed, schools are closed, and they went above and beyond, you know, sometimes working tremendous amounts of overtime so members in their community could be uplifted, right? And serviced and be able to work from the comfort of their own homes too. So we put ourselves in psychological sometime difficulty with our own, you know, we're people too, just dealing with everything the same.
So
anyways, then from there, obviously that got the company tore down. We did the contest, we got our winners, we publicized them in our Facebook, so people should like our page, like our Twitter, and jump on there and retweet and engage, of course. And also our 1944 at work. So we put all our pictures up in there. And the magazine is about the members. So that's also what the members could do, be engaged that way. In our magazine just recently, we've had the scholarships. People should apply. We usually don't have a lot of people applying. Anyway, I'm kind of all over, I know, because there's so much to tell you in such a short amount of time.
And how did we get to the T-shirt?
Does so much.
Yeah.
The T-shirt. So the T-shirt actually came out of that. So I've been going to all these unit meetings, as you know, and I say buy two. And why do I tell people to buy two? Well, buy one, like me and Ross, wear it out cutting your grass, walking your dog, your cat or your rabbit, whatever your pleasure, right? True story.
No judgment of people's support animals or preferences. Yeah.
And you know, wear your mask, go to the grocery store, wear your T-shirt, show your color, show your pride, right? Additionally, though, put one away. Put one away. And then when the pandemic is long in our rearview mirror and you're moving or cleaning out cupboards or whatever, you will pull it out. And you'll remember you are a hero. And this time belongs to you. To all the workers.
Well said.
Wow.
Here.
Your
Beautiful.
story, your legacy,
Yeah.
your legacy. That's why.
Yeah. As a community, as a country, keeping us standing in solidarity through a pandemic. That's the thing, right? Is keeping connected, right?
Yeah, and people should be proud of that. They
Yeah.
should be. We should all be proud of it. We did a terrific job.
Absolutely.
And I wish the company was as proud of us as we are of ourselves. We don't need the company. The union is what you need. That's what you need. You know, we have to demand that they hear us and see us and support us in our careers and jobs and so forth. It's just really that simple. And this time, and you know this, Ross, this time when we met, you know, we surveyed the membership, what they said, huge numbers, was they want job security. They are tired of watching their jobs fall away, and meanwhile tell us, you know, gets billions of dollars over 30, well, not billions, that would be incorrect, but you know, 30, what was that? $36.8 million in subsidy during the pandemic. And yet we watch jobs go away.
I don't think the dividends stop being paid either.
No. I mean, we have February 21, 2021 in our magazine, TELUS scooping up money all the while downsizing, right? Check out the magazine. I'm not even joking, right? Like, that's just a fact.
And where do we find the magazine, Monica?
USW1944.ca.
You got it. That's
Can I
how
believe
it's.
it?
Is that also where we can order these fabulous shirts?
That is also correct at usw1944.ca. There's actually a little button top right, says shop. You can click that. It goes to a different website. And and t-shirts is not the only thing they do. They do caps, hats. I believe they do masks. Well, I'm not sure if we got any masks left now, but they do. There's a great hoodie on there. And
the blue one.
Yes, and it already sold out of my size, so I couldn't get it back.
She knows exactly which one you're talking about. It's that
Because
good.
you can wear it naked underneath.
Oh.
Well, if
It's so soft.
if you need to.
Well, but you should sometimes.
Enjoy the
I'll
fabric.
give it a go.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the hoodie on,
Yeah.
right? It's
True.
not like you're running around streaking.
But I mean, that's one
Yes.
heck of a message for the union.
No, you wear the hoodie, but it's so soft.
Yes.
Seriously.
Those are the
and actually,
best.
it was a brother who told me that. He's like, oh, you should wear this naked. It's so nice.
It's so cozy.
True story.
Oh, that's
I wear all my clothes naked.
yeah.
That's not even a risque thing to say.
Right?
Exactly.
So one of the questions I have to ask, and it's been asked of me on numerous occasions, and people ask, you say, why don't we have lawyers at the table? The company has a whole bunch of high-priced lawyers. We should have a whole bunch of high-priced lawyers in order to counteract that threat. So why don't we do that? And I'm curious as to what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good question, and we answer it, very honestly all of the time. And I today will be no exception. We don't bring lawyers to the table because we don't need a lawyer at the table. We have access to a lawyer, but having the lawyer doesn't know our collective agreement.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer doesn't know our shared experience with the company. The lawyers don't know if the managers across the table are actually speaking truth, right? And that's why we elect a bargaining committee out of the membership. Like yourself, Ross, if all of a sudden they start beaking off on the other side, you're going to pass me a note and say, he's talking about my work group. That's not at all true. That's not at all how that goes. And I was at the bargaining table in 2000 to 2005. So 5 years I sat at one bargaining table. And there were opportunities for me. And when Darren actually came to the table, Mr. Entwistle himself, and the information he was being fed was not correct. And the chief spokesperson of our committee of the day actually turned to me because I had said in caucus, I had gone on record to say, yeah, what they're telling you there isn't right. And so our chief spokesperson turned to me and said, would you tell Mr. Entwistle what you know to be true? And so I had. And he responded with, well, first, the look on his face was a bit shocking because his team wasn't being honest with him clearly. And he kind of looked down the table one way and down the table the other because he had been, kind of gotten, if you will, right? And not by me, but by having been not properly prepared or misinformed or whatever it was. And he was, good enough to say to me, thank you. Oh, or whatever. I don't remember exactly verbatim. We'll take that away or whatever. And that's why you have people that know when they're trying to get one on, the sort of the lead spokespeople. I mean, I've been at the telephone company 32 years. I've been an activist for about 30, worked my way up through the ranks, as I had explained. I mean, I understand the union and a lot of, where all of our work is here, there, and everywhere. At one point, I was, when I was CEP, I represented both craft and clerical, like in, first level grievance meetings, right? So I know the book really well. And like I said, I was at the table for 5 years there. But there are things I'm not going to know. I don't work with Ross every day, right? So I can't know. I don't climb up poles. I don't pull fiber. But if Ross says, no, what that, guy just said isn't right. So that's the mechanism of what bargaining is. It's not, some legal ramblings of, trying to get one over on each other because a bigger word. It's about the truth. And nobody knows the truth better than a worker. And so workers are at the table.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's something to be said about being at a bargaining table, bargaining for an agreement where you're going to be living that agreement, right? So these are the conditions that you're bargaining for in your future. The power doesn't come from the team itself. The power comes from the members standing together for the team. Yeah. So, and it being, the team being made up of those members. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Standing in solidarity.
You got it.
Perfect. Yeah.
No, that really is. I mean, that sounds kind of hokey, right? Like, I know people feel powerless sometimes, or they can, right? And not everyone, obviously, but and maybe the sisters will know this even better than the brothers here today. And this is not, anecdotal. There's good evidence here that when women are asked to run for office or take on a promotion or a more complex role, we are more emotional about how we look at something. And often we'll say, I'm not really sure I can. Whereas a brother, and credit to the brothers, they're like, yeah, I can do that. Maybe it's a little bit overconfident, or maybe what sisters need to do is know that we don't need anybody's permission. We're as good as, and we can get the job done too. Just the same, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes, sometimes I would say to workers, that we don't realize our own power. Like, we are all divine anyway. We don't need to be something more than what we are. We just need to know it, right? We just have to know our power.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And once we know our power, we're extraordinary. And there's not anything we can't do.
Yeah.
So,
amen to that.
It's true. No, it is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, I think, just having people believe. So that's the job, right? We have to talk to our members and have them remember. Let them have a knowing of their worth and their value, and how by them, standing up, it will make all the difference in their own world, right? So, and I'm going to tell you, if I can, if you don't mind, a little story about a group of 27 scrappy, feisty fellas. Would you mind?
Go for it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we have, almost 400 Shaw workers, Shaw workers, in that are inside our we have certification for. They're fondly known as Unit 60, and most of their unit is Vancouver, Surrey. They bargain together, right? And though we have a small little unit of 27, and they're feisty and they're scrappy, and we went to bargain for them not very long ago. And it would have been easy for Shaw to have, crushed them, quite frankly, right? And locked them out, or we could have struck, or what have you. And who knows how that would have gone, right? Could have maybe ended up being a really long time. But here's what happened, right? And I want to give a shout out to the committee too. So there's Jason Little, he's our staff rep. There's myself. We had Keller Reeves, Rob Wall, and James Large. So that was our bargaining committee, and Steve McWhirter as the local union rep. So shout out to them. They were a fabulous committee. And their slogan was "No fear." It was awesome. TELUS, by the way, is "Rise Up." So anyway, I digress a little bit because I do that. We had gone into bargaining with Shaw. This small group, like I say, could have just been, destroyed had we not had solidarity. And I will tell you, we had breakfast mornings in the parking lots. We had rallies in the parking lots. We had, all kinds of job actions that were, didn't slow down work or anything like that. It was, wear the T-shirt or the poster or whatever it was for the day, right? And the team was there, 100% solidarity. Wow. Never skipped a beat. And so there was no wedge the company could get into. And the rest of the unit showed solidarity with their, scrappy little, brothers over there in Abbotsford. And the union, myself, right? I was on the committee. So whatever they needed and how much they needed happened for them. And I will tell you, the national was there for them as well, right? Jason Little, he's a national staff rep, and we were there looking out for and taking care of. But we didn't have to look out for them very much or take care of them very much either, because they were invested 100%, not one deviation. That's how you make gains, because they did. They made gains in money. They made gains in language, including like a new position, all kinds of things. That happens when workers have workers' backs. It's just that simple. And that's your model. It happened. Beautiful story.
That's incredible. If we don't speak with what voice we have now, it's just going to continue to fade away. It's not going to get better, right?
It'll just get quieter until it holds no volume at all anymore.
Exactly. So,
although what you've just said, the 27 scrappy ones,
yep,
you don't need a lot. As long as you got that solidarity, you don't need a lot of people. So,
but ultimately, at the end of the day, that TELUS is 8,200 strong, and if we don't have a good percentage of that, it's not the voices you hear either out of a large group. The ones that don't cause you just as much anguish, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why one-on-one to everyone. We need everyone. Will we get everyone? I don't suspect so. I would be living in some sort of disconnected reality if I thought so. But we need as many as absolutely possible to make the biggest change possible that will serve as many in the bargaining unit as possible. Mm-hmm. We need equity, we need fairness, and we need it now.
I'm really quite excited about the fact that as a union, we are trying different forms of outreach to our members, like this podcast, like WhatsApp groups, like Slack, like the text messaging. You have all these different ways now. It's not just union boards anymore and union meetings. Those are still really important. They're still like the key building blocks to a strong union.
The foundation. Yeah.
Thank you. But I'm really excited that a lot of these, especially like techier people, they're going to tune into the podcast. They're going to check their messages.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to get more involvement, and it's great to see us evolving.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was the first time I had been to the bar since COVID. It happened just the other day, and I was out Thursday and met two members I used to work with. And the comment I got literally was, I don't know, I think the union's doing a really good job of communicating these days. I feel like I can get the info. And out of his mouth, not out of mine. And I usually set people up, like, what do you think, But he literally said that to me, and I was like, oh, thank God.
We're on the right track.
We're going in the right direction.
Positive feedback that...
Well, I tell you, we are busting it. We are, and that, Ross. We have 2 engagement officers in from, off the job, getting it done, right? Mm-hmm. So we're very serious. And I'm going to tell you that, I'm a worker, right? I mean, I know I have a job to do, but I'm really no different. Ross is no different. I am just a worker, and being just a worker is just fine, because that's
Absolutely.
all I have to be.
Yeah.
That's all I have to be.
You can take a lot of pride in that comment, right?
Absolutely. There's
nothing wrong with it.
And I know when I was on the shop floor what I expected from my leadership. And that's all, Michael and I and Pierre-Luc and the rest of the board is trying to emulate. What did we want to see?
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we have an opportunity to lead, that's what we're implementing.
Absolutely.
Right? And I say this all the time as well. It's kind of my message box. So if you can imagine going to Canadian Tire and you buy a box of Christmas lights, right? You bring them home, you take them out of the box, you take them off of the, I don't know.
Reel.
The card thing.
Whatever the reel that it's on, you unwrap it, put the reel over there, and then there's the package of bulbs. So you take them off, and then you lay it out, and then you screw each one of the 25 bulbs into the string, and then you plug it in. Oh, yeah, they all light up. Okay, good. And then you take them outside, you wrap them on the tree, you get the little stand, you stick it in the ground, you plug that in, and you plug the stand into the extension cord, and then you take it to the timer, and you plug that into the house, right? It's how it works in my house anyway. I got a weird but and then at night it comes on, right? Well, that's what we've been doing in the background. And what people are now starting to see over the last year and a bit is lights are starting to come on, right? And the whole string right away will just interlock, and it'll be like, oh, fireworks or something, right? Mm-hmm. Except we hope the lights don't blow up, right?
But that's great. All these steps that you guys have been laying down to get those lights up, right?
Yes.
That's been happening, and now we're starting to see
they
that.
all contribute
illumination.
to the greater good.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give people? How do you get more involved? Somebody's been listening to this podcast, they're like, oh, you know what, that's inspirational stuff, I want to get part of it, I want to get involved. What's their first step?
Well, they could call you, Ross, because I know your phone doesn't ring enough.
Phone number in the comments below. Oh no.
I would hope that they know somebody in their unit, but maybe not. We are all working at home. So USW 1944, right? Call into the union office. It'll go. The call be answered. We'll get you to a rep that can provide them information about who their unit chair is, any of that kind of stuff, right? The rep can, and I'm serious, forward me their name, and I'll send it to you or Michelle, and we'll get in touch. Like, there's not an email I have never answered or a phone call I have never taken, and so that's just the truth. Like,
I can attest to that.
I mean it.
100%. Yeah.
One by one. So if someone really is sitting there, going to listen to this, I don't know how they'd get it exactly if they have no idea about the union at all. But let's say that happened. USW1944.ca, call in the main office and say, I want to get involved. That simple will make it happen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, maybe your unit chair or what have you.
Find out who the shop steward is.
Yeah.
Sure.
On that note, actually,
shop steward courses. Let's talk about those.
That's what I was good segue. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So, obviously, COVID has brought a lot of negative things in the world, but it's also brought a wider availability to the shop steward course if people want to take it. It's available online now, right? You don't have to go to a center in person. So it's a lot easier. There's no commute involved.
Yeah.
If it's on a work day, you get paid to do it. And that's something that we've gone ahead and taken the initiative to sign up for. I'm very excited actually to do that because, so I'm the baby at the table. I've only been with the union for just over 3 years. And really until the past year or so, there wasn't really a ton of information available, right? Again, there's the union boards and there's the union meetings, but actual people that within your shop, I didn't really know who the shop stewards were. I didn't know where to get this information. And so,
culture's shifting in a good way.
Yeah. And so,
I think it was always there. The information was always there. It's just you didn't know how to get it. And that was the key problem. Our website is a huge archive of information. If you need anything, USW1944.ca. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good. So I think again to the point of I'm a very digital consumer, and so things like having the magazine online is great. Having again something like this, maybe I can stick in my ear for 15 minutes and hear recent updates and get to know more about our president and our representatives and stuff. But I think to go back to the shop steward point is, even if, and correct me if I'm wrong, even if you take that course and maybe you don't feel comfortable handling certain situations, at the same time, you just educated yourself.
Yeah.
And you can help then, even if you don't represent people, you can still say, hey, maybe I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I can point you in the right direction now.
Yeah, I took that course and it was great. And it was especially even for that reason of just arming you with the tools to find out answers on your own if you can't find someone right away. And to be the smart friend for somebody and show them the answer, right?
Yeah.
I second that. I just did the course. It was a great experience. And, the fact that it was a Zoom learning, I got to talk to members going through the course with me from all across Canada in different departments that normally I wouldn't be interacting with.
I love that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
good segue.
So great to even just hear the different trials that our brothers and sisters are going through that maybe I don't think about as a technician what some of the clerical might go through. And it was very informative.
It was another way to come together on a broader spectrum, on a broader scale.
Breaking down those barriers.
Breaking down barriers to stand in solidarity.
Because what's the simplest method against us is divide and conquer. They divide us up and they conquer us individually in smaller parts. And so anything that bridges those divides, it can only lead to us winning in the end. And I mean, the PUMA network is a perfect example. The PUMA network is a nationwide communications network made up of individuals across our local. Mm-hmm. Like Ontario, you have Quebec, you have Alberta, BC, all north and south, from all over the country. They use a tool called Slack to interact with each other. But it is a brilliant way to get involved. And if you are, if you're kind of stuck on the sidelines and maybe you think you want to get a little bit more involved, everybody has a part to play, right? Mm-hmm. And you can get involved. Contact at USW1944.ca. We will put all this information on our pages, on our links. But you can click those links and you can go and you can join up and be a PUMA activist. Mm-hmm. And that really is about passing messages back and forth, keeping your ears to the ground, keeping an eye on what's going on, but also letting other people know information that you've received in turn.
Well, do you have any thoughts on this, Donna?
Yeah, so I do like that what I'd heard earlier about you don't necessarily have to become a shop steward. Although we want as many shop stewards as we possibly can get.
Yes.
So the idea that a person would might go and yes, they could maybe they're a little more shy and they're want to take a longer time. A mentorship to becoming a steward is all well and good, but when they're in the course, something might tweak them, and they're like, yeah, I want to defend a brother and a sister, right? Mm-hmm. So I want people to be at least open-minded that, in fact, maybe it might be for them. Now, if it's not for them, that's fine. At least they have, received knowledge, and knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. And when they know that they have a collective agreement, where to go, control F, all those things, that's exactly good and right. I will say, though, in our travels across the country at these unit meetings, people are actually making bets. If that's if I could say that out loud.
On what?
Who? So some units come from different areas. So there might be such an area, that sits in. So I'll use Unit 60 because it's not happening in Unit 60, and I don't want to spill the beans and wreck the contest for the brothers and others that are doing it. But so we'll use Unit 60 in Shaw. So there's Surrey, Vancouver, and Abbotsford, right? And so they'll all be on a meeting. And so you have a leader in the Shaw group or in the Surrey group that says to the brother, let's say it's James Large, right? And says, hey, I'm sending 5 of my guys. How many are you sending? And so they're upping each other and making sure that people are going to become educated. Nice. So, and I will tell you, this local union commits to continue to have courses as long as there is an ask for courses. So if they fill up, we'll continue to run them. Mm-hmm. So the more units that want to partake in seeing who can out-educate another.
You got me all excited for competition now, so I'm already thinking the people I can get in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can convince a table officer I might know them, that there could perhaps be some prizes or something involved as well.
Ooh.
Everybody loves prizes.
Everybody loves prizes.
That'd be awesome.
I do love my prizes.
And to, another benefit of having more people who are shop stewards is when somebody has a need to have a shop steward present, or whether they have questions or whatever, not everybody feels comfortable talking to the same people. So it's better to have the options to be able to talk to people, because regardless of who you are, where you come from, if you need to talk about something that was emotional that happened in the workplace, you don't often feel comfortable telling those things to a random person, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have somebody who's already a friend at, through your work and your network, who you feel comfortable to be able to help, that you trust, that can help represent you, all the better. And that also leaves more rooms for us to bring up grievances when they need to be brought up, and not feel like, oh, let's brush it under the rug because I don't want to make a disturbance. I don't know anybody who will speak on my behalf. Like, having the option to have somebody represent you opens so many doors.
And sometimes people don't even know there's a violation in collective agreement.
Yes.
Right? They don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like a manager, and I'm not saying this against a manager either, because, managers are new or acting, and they just think, they're getting some direction, they're misinterpreting it or whatever. And so they're just doing what they think is within their purview to do.
Right.
And it's not. And you wouldn't know unless you know.
Exactly.
And so when that happens, even if you've not taken the course yourself, but you're talking to a friend and say, look what happens to me. They're making me work on Saturday, and I've worked 5 days this week. Can they do that? And you're like, are they paying you overtime at least or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so, those kinds of things, and you wouldn't know. It'd be like, oh, well, she said she wasn't. Well, that's a grievance or whatever, for example.
You
right?
don't know what you don't know.
Right,
Amen.
exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
And some people it's personal, right? People go through things. I mean, we don't, I don't think we have to be shy when we say there's different things that are happening in our society, from domestic violence to opioid addiction to poverty. Some people are living in their cars, or, we have communities of tents. How do you know that's not one of the sisters or brothers? And that's why there's a situation, they're distracted by, or, a female member is having female issues. They don't want to necessarily talk to, no matter how awesome a brother might be, it's a little bit hard to relate. Or similarly, a brother may not want to talk about a shy kidney issue with a sister, right? So it's important that we have a diverse set of people inside our own ranks looking after each other. And ultimately, it's us looking after us. Exactly. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's another way to stand together, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Nailed it. That should be a hashtag.
Another way to stand together. Yeah.
Well, I nailed it. Hashtag nailed it.
There you go.
Nailed it.
You were speaking earlier that, maybe communication previously wasn't what it ought to have been. And, respectfully, I'm going to say that over time, we've always gotten better. And that's just because we have the ability. But, that's also on society broadly. When I first got involved in the TWU, which was before the USW Local 1944, I was in BC, right, for that whole 5 years of bargaining. And I'd go over to what is the King's Hotel. I don't know what it's called now. And, Unit 5, Unit 7, Unit 1 would all be meeting. And it would be packed, and there would be upwards 100, maybe 200 people. And we didn't have the technology we had, but they showed up, right? Yeah. And all we had was a transmitter magazine and, God rest his soul, Peter Massey's voice on Fridays, and he always ended with, have a nice day, right? And then, we had the next round of bargaining, and, I'm sure there were some better campaigns that just, the future pulls you along, right? It just happens. And then last time, I'm going to give the bargaining committee proper credit, frankly. They had the Expect More campaign. They started with the text messaging, and all that is really happening now is indeed we have more ability to connect with people. And so that's what is happening. We have a real vested interest because we really have to make a difference now, right? But there was a time where we were not able to put on shop steward courses the way that we would have liked to have, right? And every leader that has ever led always wants to do the very best that they can, and they do. They give all that they've got to give, right? And circumstances just are as they are, right? But there's not an activist in our history that doesn't have unionism in every cell of their body, right? So, we should disabuse ourselves of anything different, right? So, the circumstances are what they are. The pot of money is what it is, and you can only do what you can do. And we were heavily using legal, and that took up, upwards, well over $1 million some years, right? Because we had to defend our members. And so we weren't able to do other things. And so what the members did, though, the activists like Robert J., would be build a course in, on the kitchen table or the home office or in the basement. We did it in 207. That was my home local then, unit now. And many people did. And, we would mentor and take along somebody in an IM or a grievance committee meeting or a grievance step 1 or 2, right? So Robert, being an awesome, solid trade unionist, he started just doing a course that he would give his friends that wanted to become shop stewards, knowing there wasn't an official course, Saturday afternoon, beer and pizza, right? And so he had brought it to us, the table officers, because Ross came to me and said, could we do something just off the side of the table? Because I know we don't have anything official, and COVID had just happened, and everybody is scrambling because pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, sure, let's try and put something together. And so, in conversation with Robert, he's got I got these scritchy notes, right? Yeah. And so we had a look. Him and Jen put it together. We gave him some union time off, put it together more fulsomely. And then we partnered him with Adrian, our educational and equity leader in the CNO. And they built and polished and made something glorious, truly, all 1944 material. And that's how it came to be. So a collaborative effort, but I am going to tell you now, it was grassroots, out of a need from, again, a worker on the shop floor.
That's grassroots. That's how it happens. Yeah, grassroots unionism right there. Yeah. Right. And that's there. A perfect example.
The whole story. Yep. That is a beautiful thing.
Just so everybody knows, the CNO, could you tell us what that stands for?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. The Canadian National Office.
So that's the USW's Canadian office. Yeah. That's right. So we're the local.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah, that whole course, I don't think it's a question on people should ask themselves if they should take it. It's when they should take it, and the answer is ASAP because it's important.
Yeah, agreed. That's right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know people are really looking for a second course, which I promise you I will deliver, but I need people taking the first course to go out and be shop stewards first. I mean, it's kind of like I want to be a surgeon, but if you haven't done the doctor work, right, you have to do the preliminary, so you get a sense of what it is you're now learning, right? So over the next year or so, I need shop stewards to be doing the IMs, taking grievances forward, and I'm just going to put this out there. Obviously, we're starting to come out of restrictions. More and more of us are double vaccinated. And so we're opening up, right? We're talking about different conferences. And as Ross said, CLC happened virtually. It was fabulous. Would have been better, though. We would have had 4,000 people in the same room safely, obviously. But that's coming, right? That's on our horizon where we're all going to be able to dispense with the masks and, have food and beer once again together, or other beverages as, people choose. But I want people to know how we pick people to go do things. So when you're a leader inside the organization, naturally, people come to you for questions, advice, and that sort of thing. So it's important you get the information first. So we would look to leaders, and I don't just mean our board, but our board obviously are leaders in their units and regions. So we would, look to supporting and sending our board to do things so that they can bring back to the workplace what those things are and the impacts and so forth. But we would also look to people, when we're sending them to conferences or summer schools or any of those things, winter school, when it comes, is going to be your level of engagement inside the union, right? Because we want to take people who are interested and grow them. Mm-hmm. We don't want to just take you for granted. So if you're taking shop steward courses and you're going out doing grievance meetings, you're coming out to your unit meetings, and you all of a sudden you want to even do more and you want to be on a committee, you send in your application to me and I'm going to be like, well, who is this person? And I see how they're growing. I'm going to want to water you, right?
Heck yeah.
Right?
You're a mind reader. I was just thinking of like a seed metaphor, the union, it's fertile ground. You're your own seed. And if you start growing, we'll water you, baby.
Yes.
Just make sure it's rain, though, eh?
Yes. And there's lots of opportunities. Yes, one person can't get them all or whatever. And I don't, quite frankly, think anybody would want to. But we want to spread stuff out. Of course we do. We want to water as many seeds and flowers as we can. But I'm going to be honest, if I may, I'm going to choose somebody who's showing an interest over the just getting an application of a name I've never heard of, because there's, an opportunity to go somewhere and, it says, well, I would like to go to Montreal because it's been a year since I've been there. I'm, with respect, I'm not choosing that person, right? So, I want people to know that there's all kinds of opportunities to grow whatever particular talent that they have now or may have in the future. I mean, that's where all of our facilitators come from. They're all from the units, So
like podcasting.
I'm really proud of that.
Podcasting.
Like podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting's a talent.
Being able to have somewhat entertaining conversation, but about something impactful.
Right.
Yeah.
And people who, step up and they have ideas like, Tyler and Ross brought us this,
it's been great.
And said, hey, how about this? And, give a very professional business plan about it all. And so we are futuristic and we want to be engaging and empowering, and we want people to coalesce around it. Like, we just want to bring in everybody.
As many platforms, as we can. It's great. Like, it's not just, the home phone anymore that you get a message on. You have emails and Facebook and Instagram and this and that and work emails and work phone and cell phone. And there's just so many distractions and platforms to choose from. And it's like, we have to keep evolving and be out there on all of them, because then, it's going to catch your eye somewhere, right?
The next clips talk about sensitive and important information. Viewer discretion is advised. If you are in need of support, please reach out anytime or visit the website or call the phone number below.
It's emotional, right? I believe, obviously, I stand with all oppressed people. It's just in my very nature. I mean, we have to. There is such a divide, but of inequality, and it's gotten grotesque. Yeah, and I think, like if I were to flip my Zoom, you'll see Bernie Sanders, right? And I think why he took off so much in the United States is because there is such a divide between those people who are scared of their power and their privilege and those that have had the living daylights kicked out of them forever. And the problems are systemic, and it is criminal that people live in moldy houses and don't have fresh drinking water. I couldn't imagine it. So it's not my place to say. It's only my place to help wherever needed, as asked and directed. So Indigenous peoples have a way of knowing that I don't, and that we must heed their direction. Equity-seeking groups need a place at the table. Our world only heals when we provide that. I believe there is no turning back now. There is a momentum building.
Yes.
And I mentioned it earlier with all the movements, but there is a real shift happening. And while people will say, oh my goodness, all this stuff is just happening. No. What is happening is humanity is strong enough now, except for the crazy ones that are disconnected and live in, cognitive dissonance. But we're strong enough now that we can also come into a way of knowing. And so the veil is being pulled back. And this is why we're able to see all of these tragedies and why they're being felt so deeply, because we're in the phase of emotion, if you will. And so it's not that things are new and they're worse than they've ever been. No, we're coming to see things as they are and as true. And when you have, and I'm just going to pivot in no disrespect to all of what we're seeing in the world, when we see the divide of, a percentage of the top 1%. They're not just, rich and we're middle class anymore. They're uber grotesquely wealthy. Never be able to spend that kind of money. And then you have people who are living in tents and without healthcare, without shoes. And we just continue to let the problem fester and grow and burn and explode. And one of the ways we combat it is in solidarity, sticking up. When you see the knee of an officer on the neck of a man, it's like, are you kidding? But that's not new. We just finally caught it. We were in the middle of a pandemic and people watched. It's not new.
It's finally
just getting new for a long time.
It's just getting the visibility.
And we've had our residential school problem here. We've had the Japanese internment. Canada's a colonial country, and we might think we're all pretty and stuff, and we ain't so bad. But we have a lot of wounds, and we have a lot to make up for. And how we do it is we own it. And that's what truth and reconciliation is. It's owning it. It's saying, yes, this happened, like Germany did with the Holocaust. They owned it.
Yeah.
You can't get past it unless you speak truth to power.
Acknowledge, bear witness.
Absolutely. So you have to own it. You have to speak truth to power, and we have to ask, how can we help? And then actually follow through on actions.
Yeah.
And things are symbolically important, like land acknowledgement. For people that live in a non-binary way, us acknowledging our pronouns means that we see people, and we have to see people. And then when we see people, we hear people, we can address the issues that they say need addressing. So, it's all about solidarity with each other.
Yeah.
We have to change our world, and I believe it's coming.
Yeah.
And I want to be part of the change. I really do.
Yeah.
That's inspirational. Love it, Donna. Love you, Donna.
Yeah.
I love you too, Ross.
We had a similar conversation earlier, and we were going to involve the link to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada if people wanted more information and education, as well as there has been a national residential school crisis line set up that we were going to put the phone number for that. So we thought that might also be helpful and impactful for some of our members that are, continually and generationally reliving this trauma as it's now being brought to the light. That's the other piece of it, right? It's not just something that's happened in the past. It's something that people are reliving right now as it's happening, right? So,
that's a trigger.
Even if we don't understand what you're going through, we stand with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't know. Like, I can't know.
Yeah.
But what I do know, and I see it even around, like, I'm a big supporter of Black Lives Matter and all of that. And as what I can do for people is use this white privilege I have to speak out for when they can't. I have to. That's why I was gifted this body. It's my obligation. I just must. And so, anybody who looks like me, that's what we must do. And that's how we also make amends for our father's mistakes, is by, it stops here, it stops in this generation. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Donna. We appreciate you spending your life towards elevating people's voices who haven't had a chance to be heard yet.
Amen.
Thank
you.
Cheers to you,
Cheers to you, Donna.
Thank you. Cheers to you. Thanks.
Wasn't it great having Donna here today?
Absolutely.
She's so well spoken.
Inspirational. Inspirational.
It's great to get to know the real her as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And we also wanted to thank her for bringing to our attention that she noted which unceded lands that she was recording from today. And so we also wanted to acknowledge that we are currently podcasting in BC on the land of the Matsqui, Kwantlen, and Katsi and Semiahmoo peoples. And we just wanted to say we are appreciative of being here, and that not just in light of in recent events, but hopefully forever going forward, we stand with you in solidarity.
Solidarity in all things.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow all of our social media accounts. And until next time, leave some comments, let us know your thoughts and ideas, and thanks for tuning in.
Remain strong as steel.
Strong as steel.
See you guys.
Clink.
That's a lot of gigabytes.